my god. You're so awesome, Lawrence Lim.
It's Lawrence Lim with the W.
Guy walks into a bar and sits down. He looks up and there's a banner hanging above the bar and it says, "Do 3 simple tasks and win $1 million." So he looks at the bartender and he says, "Hey, is that sign legit?" And the bartender goes, "Oh yeah, you do 3 simple tasks, I'll give you $1 million." He says, "All right, man, what's the tasks?" He said, "Well, first of all, you see that guy at the end of the bar?" And he points to this gigantic guy sitting at the end of the bar. He says, "You got to knock him out in 1 punch." He said, "After you do that, I've got a 12-foot alligator out back. I need you to keep her alive and awake and pull her tooth out. She's got a bad tooth. After that, I've got an old woman upstairs. She's 89 years old, and she has been looking for somebody to please her. You go up there and do that, get all 3 things done, I will give you $1 million. The guy says, "All right." So he orders 10 shots and does them all back to back. He stumbles down to the end of the bar and boom, knocks the guy out in 1 punch. Then he stumbles around back to the alligator, and he's gone for about 20 minutes, and all you hear is yelling and pleading and screaming. And about 20 minutes go by, and he walks back in, and he's completely covered in blood. His clothes are all torn up. He looks at the bartender, and he goes, "All right, man, where's that old lady with the bad tooth?"
A mafia godfather finds out that his bookkeeper, Enzo, has cheated him out of $10 million. His bookkeeper is deaf. That was the reason he got the job in the first place. It was assumed that Enzo would hear nothing that he might have to testify about in court. When the godfather goes to confront Enzo about his missing $10 million, he takes along his lawyer, who knows sign language. The godfather tells the lawyer, ask him where the $10 million is that he embezzled. The lawyer, using sign language, asks Enzo where the money is. Enzo signs back, "I don't know what you are talking about." The lawyer tells the godfather, he says he doesn't know what you are talking about. The godfather pulls out a pistol, puts it to Enzo's temple and says, "Ask him again." The lawyer signs to Enzo, "He'll kill you if you don't tell him." Enzo signs back, "Okay, you win." The money is in a brown briefcase, buried behind the shed in my cousin Bruno's backyard in Woodbridge. The godfather asks the lawyer, "What did he say?" The lawyer replies, he says, "You don't have the balls to pull the trigger." A bartender is sitting behind his bar when a well-dressed but obviously intoxicated man stumbles in. "Bartender, a drink for everyone, a drink for me, and a drink for yourself," the man yells as he approaches. Bartender pours all the drinks. The whole bar cheers. They all drink. Bartender hands the bill to the man, and he just shrugs and says, "Oh, I didn't bring my wallet with me tonight, sorry." The bartender proceeds to beat the living daylights out of the man and throws him out. Next night, bartender is again behind his bar when the same well-dressed but intoxicated man stumbles in. "Bartender, a drink for everyone, a drink for me, and a drink for yourself," the man happily announces as he approaches. Bartender thinks, "This guy can't be that stupid. He probably came to pay. Now I feel bad for beating him so hard previous night." He pours all the drinks. The whole bar cheers. They all drink. Bartender hands the bill to the man, and he again shrugs and says, "Oh, I didn't bring my wallet with me again, sorry." The bartender proceeds to beat the man even harder and kicks him out. Third night in the row, bartender just can't believe his eyes when he sees the man return. "Bartender, a drink for everyone and a drink for me," the man calls out as he approaches. Bartender is fuming and grins sardonically. "What, no drink for me tonight?" The drunk looks at him and says, "Nah, man, you get way too violent when you drink." Dave was bragging to his boss one day, "You know, I know everyone there is to know. Just name someone, anyone, and I know them." Tired of his boasting, his boss called his bluff. "Okay, Dave, how about Tom Cruise?" "No dramas, boss. Tom and I are old friends and I can prove it." So Dave and his boss fly out to Hollywood and knock on Tom Cruise's door. And Tom Cruise shouts, "Dave, what's happening? Great to see you. Come on in for a beer." Although impressed, Dave's boss is still skeptical. After they leave Cruise's house, he tells Dave that he thinks him knowing Cruise was just lucky. No, No, just name anyone else, Dave says. President Obama, his boss quickly retorts. Yup, Dave says. Old buddies, let's fly out to Washington, and off they go. At the White House, Obama spots Dave on the tour and motions him and his boss over, saying, Dave, what a surprise. I was just on my way to a meeting, but you and your friend come on in and let's have a beer first and catch up. Well, the boss is very shaken by now, but still not totally convinced. After they leave the White House grounds, he expresses his doubts to Dave, who again implores him to name anyone else. Pope Francis, his boss replies. Sure, says Dave. I've known the Pope for years. So off they fly to Rome. Dave and his boss are assembled with the masses at the Vatican St. Peter's Square when Dave says, this will never work. I can't catch the Pope's eye among all these people. Tell you what, I know all the guards, so let me just go upstairs and I'll come out on the balcony with the Pope. He disappears into the crowd headed towards the Vatican. Sure enough, half an hour later, Dave emerges with the Pope on the balcony. But by the time Dave returns, he finds that his boss has had a heart attack and is surrounded by paramedics. Making his way to his boss's side, Dave asks him, what happened? His boss looks up and says, it was the final straw. You and the Pope came out onto the balcony and the man next to me said, who the fuck is that on the balcony with Dave? A cowboy, who just moved to Montana from Texas, walks into a bar and orders 3 mugs of Bud. He sits in the back of the room, drinking a sip out of each one in turn. When he finishes them, he comes back to the bar and orders 3 more. The bartender approaches and tells the cowboy, you know, a mug goes flat after I draw it. It would taste better if you bought one at a time. The cowboy replies, well, you see, I have 2 brothers. One is in Arizona, the other is in Colorado. When we all left our home in Texas, we promised that we'd drink this way to remember the days when we drank together. So I'm drinking 1 beer for each of my brothers and 1 for myself. The bartender admits that this is a nice custom and leaves it there. The cowboy becomes a regular in the bar and always drinks the same way. He orders 3 mugs and drinks them in turn. One day, he comes in and only orders 2 mugs. All the regulars take notice and fall silent. When he comes back to the bar for the second round, the bartender says, I don't want to intrude on your grief, but I wanted to offer my condolences on your loss. The cowboy looks quite puzzled for a moment. Then a light dawns in his eyes and he laughs. Oh no, everybody's just fine, he explains. It's just that my wife and I joined the Baptist church and I had to quit drinking. It hasn't affected my brothers, though. A blind man enters a ladies' bar by mistake. He finds his way to a bar stool and orders a drink. After sitting there for a while, he yells to the bartender, Hey, you want to hear a blonde joke? The bar immediately falls absolutely quiet. In a very deep, husky voice, the woman next to him says, Before you tell that joke, sir, you should know 5 things. Number 1, the bartender is a blonde girl. Number 2, the bouncer is a blonde girl. Number 3, I'm a 6 feet tall, 200-pound blonde woman with a black belt in karate. Number 4, the woman sitting next to me is blonde and is a professional weightlifter. Number 5, the lady to your right is a blonde and is a professional wrestler. While the 5 ladies look for the man, the bartender said, Now think about it seriously, mister. Do you still want to tell that joke? The blind man thinks for a second, shakes his head and says, Nah, not if I'm going to have to explain it 5 times.
Emotional, damn it!
3 men, a philosopher, a mathematician, and an idiot, were out riding in the car when it crashed into a tree. Before anyone knows it, the 3 men found themselves standing before the pearly gates of heaven, where St. Peter and the devil were standing nearby. Gentlemen, the devil started. Due to the fact that heaven is now overcrowded, St. Peter has agreed to limit the number of people entering heaven. If any one of you can ask me a question which I don't know or cannot answer, then you're worthy enough to go to heaven. If not, then you'll come with me to hell. The philosopher then stepped up. Okay, give me the most comprehensive report on Socrates' teachings. With a snap of his finger, a stack of paper appeared next to the devil. The philosopher read it and concluded it was correct. Then go to hell. With another snap of his finger, the philosopher disappeared. The mathematician then asked, Give me the most complicated formula ever theorized. With a snap of his finger, another stack of paper appeared next to the devil. The mathematician read it and reluctantly agreed it was correct. Then go to hell! With another snap of his finger, the mathematician disappeared too. The idiot then stepped forward and said, "Bring me a chair." The devil brought forward a chair. "Drill 7 holes on the seat." The devil did just that. The idiot then sat on the chair and let out a very loud fart. Standing up, he asked, "Which hole did my fart come out from?" The devil inspected the seat and said, "The 3rd hole from the right." "Wrong," said the idiot. "It's from my asshole." And the idiot went to heaven.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
A woman cheats on her husband after years of happy marriage. Realizing her mistake, she starts praying to God. "Lord, I know what I did was wrong, but my marriage is the only thing that gives my life purpose and joy. Please don't let my husband find out." Suddenly, she hears a voice from above. "Okay, my child, it will be, but on one condition. Years from now, you will die by drowning." The woman hesitates at first, but then responds, "All right, Lord, if it means he'll never find out, then so be it." The next years of her life are happy and wonderful. She starts a successful business and lives in comfort with her husband. However, she continues to cheat on him many times, having forgotten her conversation with God. One day, she decides to book herself a vacation on a cruise ship. A few days into the voyage, a loud boom rocks the cruise ship and it starts to sink. Suddenly remembering her agreement with God, she is struck with grief and begins frantically praying to God again. "God, you're not going to drown an entire cruise ship full of people because of me, right?" She hears a familiar voice. "Are you kidding me? I've been working to gather all you cheaters here for years."
Two altar boys are out fishing one day, and one of them catches a fish and pulls it up and says, "Look at this big sumbitch I caught right here." And the other boy looks at him and says, "Man, you can't talk that way. We're altar boys." He said, "No, man, it's the name of the fish. It's a sumbitch." And he says, "Oh, well, in that case, let's take all these sumbitches up to the priest and show him." So they go to the priest, and they said, "Hey, Father, look at all these sumbitches we caught." He said, "Boys, I ought to have you thrown out of the church. You can't talk that way." And they said, "No, Father, it's the name of the fish. It's a sumbitch." And he goes, "Well, you boys sure did catch a lot of sumbitches. Let's take them up to the nuns and have them cook them for dinner." So they walk into the kitchen, and they say, "Hey, nun, we need you to cook up these sumbitches for us." And she says, "I ain't cooking anything for you with a mouth like that." The priest says, "No, it's all right. That's the name of the fish. It's called sumbitch." And she says, "Well, you sure did catch a lot of sumbitches. I'll get them cooked up for you." So that night they're eating dinner, and the Pope's visiting, and he's eating dinner with them. And the boys say, "Man, I sure am glad we caught all these sumbitches." And the priest says, "Yeah, these are some fine-looking sumbitches right here. I can't wait." And the nun says, "Yeah, I ain't never cooked up so many good sumbitches in my life." The Pope looks shocked. He looks around. He cracks a grin. He says, "Y'all motherfuckers are all right."
I heard a rumor through the great pencil bowl. Lawrence Lim got a million stories untold. From green jokes, conspiracies, and edits with flair. You gotta follow him, baby, if you dare. Your feet feels empty without his magic touch. He got the blues and the laughs that you crave so much. With a click and a follow, you'll find some relief. Lawrence Lim, social media, a digital belief. Click, subscribe, don't miss a trick. Now, hey, leave your worries and come on, click today. Lawrence Lim's got the content right in line. Follow him now.